Welcome, everyone. Welcome to How Admission Officers Decide Who to Admit or Deny, the 4 questions that you need to know. I am your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon, and I'm so glad that you are here. I'm so glad that you're putting your teenagers' future and making it as a priority. So it's not easy to do because it often can seem so far away. And if you have a junior in your household, you are about 9 months away from hitting, or he or she is about 9 months away from hitting submit. If you have someone who's younger, then you have the luxury and the runway for a little bit more time. So we're going to get right to it. And I'm going to share some things with you and leave plenty of time for questions. And you can type them into the chat and I'll be able to answer any of those questions that you want. I'm literally an open book. So let's get started. I always start with this is the topic of my TED Talk, which is college admissions is not fair, nor will it ever, it will never be fair. And I'll go through and explain why through the definition of fairness, it's just simply not an industry that's ever going to be fair. So we deal with it anyway, right? We have to deal with what's the reality. So some things that you may already know is that the number of applications have gone up in the last, to be honest with you, it's been about 20 years. It continued to rise, and then it grew exponentially, which meant that acceptance letters, the number or the percentage of acceptances went down. Why? Generally speaking, because the number of freshmen that they were admitting into their class, meaning Harvard was still admitting only about 2,000 students. Actually, they admitted just under 2,000 students. And that number doesn't seem to change over time. There are some colleges who, in the last 20 years, they've increased their size of their freshman class, but not at the rate and at the level of the exponential growth. So more applications, basically the same number of spots available in the freshman class, just doesn't make for a good thing for the applicant. The other thing that you may know a little bit about, but not completely, is that the U.S. News and World Report came to be started ranking colleges in the mid to late 80s. And that is when, so this is Vassar College. This is where I worked in the late 90s. But in the mid to late 80s, when the U.S. News and World Report started ranking colleges, all of a sudden it switched, it started changing. And over time, colleges started to market themselves, and it became really an industry, a business, because they wanted to be number one. And once you started to climb the ranks and became in the top 10 or top 100 or whatever, you wanted to do anything you could to stay there. So colleges that typically only recruited on the East Coast and or only recruited on the West Coast, they started, all competing for the same students, basically. So more marketing, more visiting, and et cetera. So I was part of that group. Like in the late 90s, I was the one, traveling and recruiting. So I took those secrets that I learned, the behind the scenes secrets that I learned at Vassar. And when I moved over, and as they say, you worked both sides of the desk. So I was on the receiving end of the desk, the college admission industry, meaning I was working as a college admission officer, as assistant director of admission. And then I moved to be the director of college counseling at Marymount High School in Los Angeles, moving over to the shipping end of the industry. So I took everything I learned from the behind the scenes at Vassar, and I applied those same tips and secrets and the mentors that had trained me, and we started having really good luck. And students were admitted to Duke and Stanford and Brown within the first 6 months. But before I go into depth about those same secrets that I'll share with you tonight, just a little bit, you're like, who is this? Why should I listen to you? So a little bit quick story is that I'm a daughter of an immigrant mother. My mom really wanted to go to college, and her quick story is that she came home and she was like, I got admitted to 2 colleges, and she was super excited. And her mom just didn't encourage that. She was just said, why are you excited? You're just going to get married and pregnant. And, perhaps no judgment, like that's what my grandmother said. But my mom didn't end up going to college, so she wanted to change the trajectory of our lives, of her 3 daughters. So it was never if you're going to college, but when. So she met Mr. Vargas, the Santa Claus looking man, and he helped her to understand what she needed to ask, what she needed to do. She drove me to his office when I was a senior and just got the blueprint, just like you're doing tonight. So thank goodness for my mom. just saying, hello, I need help. And then him being able to give us the blueprint. So in many ways, I feel like I am the Mr. Vargas for many people. And so I'm grateful to both of them. So I graduated from my dream school, which was USC at many years ago, which was my Harvard. And then from there, I was encouraged through mentors and lots of people that I met to go on to graduate school, which I went to Teachers College at Columbia. And then from there, I worked at Vassar. I've written a book. I've been on numerous TED. I did a TED Talk. I did TV interviews. It's been a fun journey. Why? Because when I was at Vassar, I loved that job. I loved traveling the country and really sharing with students how to get admitted. And the good news was I was able to travel for a great institution. The bad news was we weren't able to admit everybody. So I was always pretty sad as to how many students I had to deny more than admit. So I really wanted to get into the industry of helping more students than not. We also have a podcast, Destination University. I only say this so that you can know where to find your free materials. There's many, many episodes. We will begin season 10 soon. But this is Gary Clark. He's the vice president of enrollment at UCLA. And he says one thing that always stays with me, two things that stay with me. So you should sort of maybe write these down. The first thing is, I said, Gary, you received the most number of applications in the world. People ask me all the time, does every application get read? And he said, yes, absolutely, they get read. So take that to the bank. And the second thing he said, and partway through, towards the end of the interview, he said, don't think less about what you think we want to hear and more about what you need to say. And it was crystallized. I mean, he said it much better than I had at the time, but crystallized the way we teach and our philosophy in terms of the college essays. But how you present yourself is really, we don't actually start with the prompts, to be honest with you. So there you go. So that's take it from Gary Clark, in charge of the most number of applications in the country. In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to walk you through some behind the scenes truths that I learned, the 4 questions that you need to know, and then I'll give you some strategic to-dos, and then I'll show you how we get results in case of that's of interest to you. So sound good? Okay. All right. Just go ahead. Just let me know if you're good. Give me a thumbs up. Type the number 1 if you're like, yes, I'm good. I'm ready to rock and roll. Yeah? Okay. Oh, okay. I like a little feedback, you guys. We switched over from Zoom, but I love StreamYard for so many reasons. But anyway, because we're now live in multiple locations at the same time, which is great. Okay, here we go. So, all right, who is this for? So you're likely here because you're the holy smokes parent. Like, how did this get so competitive? So you graduated years ago, like me. You might be the now what? You've done everything right. Or your child has done everything right, and you are thinking, well, I just need help to get to the finish line. And so that's usually a lot of people. Or this is your first rodeo, meaning this is your firstborn, or you did not go to college yourself. So that would be like my mom. My mom, not only was she didn't go to college herself, I was also her firstborn. So it was her first rodeo. So go ahead, if you don't mind, type into the comments and let me know. You can just put 1, 2, or 3 to let me know which one you are. The holy smokes parent. Are you the now what parent? Are you this is my first rodeo parent? Okay. So I'll give you 1 second. I'll give you 5 seconds to do that. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me know which one you are. Are you the holy smokes? Well, how did this get so competitive? Are you the now what? Like, they've done everything right. I just need some help. Or is this your first rodeo? Type into the chat the number 1, 2, or 3 and let me know kind of where you are. And maybe I can't see all the comments here. Let's see. Over here. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. We're going to keep going. So should college admissions be fair? The answer is yes, of course, it should be, but it's not. So the definition of fairness is impartial and just without favoritism or discrimination. And that just, doesn't like life isn't fair, as we say, right? So here's what I learned about fairness. And when we talk about behind the scenes truths, I'm going to just share with you that one of the biggest aha moments for me, anyway, was in July and August when I first started my job at Vassar in the admission office. The first thing we had to do was plan our schedule of which high schools we were going to visit in the fall. So there's sort of like a tier, basically, like tier one of high schools are private independent schools. There are only 1,300 of them. So these are schools that cost anywhere like $35,000 is on the low end, all the way more than $80,000. So in Los Angeles, probably the average is about 45 to 50,000. In New York City, probably the average is, I don't know the average, but it can be as much as like $60,000 a year. So that would be tier one type of school. And then you go down. There's private schools. I was a principal at a private Catholic school. So there are little different layers of Catholic schools. So you might be at a private school, you might be at a religious or an archdiocesan school, you might be at a charter school, or you might be at a public school. So again, from tier one all the way to tier five, those are the schools. So by and large, we were visiting tier one and tier two schools. There are many reasons for that. I'm happy to go into that if you'd like me to at the end, but that was the biggest difference. And I would often put like one or two public schools that, weren't on the list. There was always a sprinkling of public schools. Don't get me wrong. But if I wanted to add one or two, it was like sort of on my own time. Okay. So that was the first thing I saw right away. The second thing is, in light of that, many of the schools that I traveled to, high schools that I traveled to visit in the fall, we had relationships with. These are schools that we visited regularly. So to give you an idea, I was in charge of all of California, all of Florida, half of Texas, North and South Dakota, and Kansas, I think, Minnesota too. And so for California, as big as California is, I traveled to Southern California. I did 5 days of visits, and Northern California, 5 days of visits. So a 2-week schedule. 5 days, I could only get about 4 high schools in at a time. So a total of 20 schools for all of Southern California, for all of Northern California. So just to give you an understanding. So oftentimes these were high schools that I would go to and meet up with the students who wanted to meet with me. And then also the counselor at that school often carved out time to have 10, 15 minutes with me to chat and get each other caught up on different things. So the relationship with the school, much different than many, many other schools, including obviously tier 5, tier 4, and tier 3. The third truth is that, not all high schools are created equally. And that is a sad truth, but it's true. So at the private level and the private independent school, for sure, the private independent school level, tier 1, that 95% of them or more are going on to four-year colleges, whereas students in public schools, it's less than 50%. So the tiers in between are somewhere in between there. But that's one of the biggest differences, right? So if you can think about it from our perspective of which high schools should we visit, we tended to go visit the high schools that had a great majority of all their students were going on to four-year colleges, right? So think about it from a sales perspective. Okay, so you might be wondering, like, oh my goodness, I just want to know, like, are we doing all the right things? Like, is this going to be enough? Will they stand out? What if they don't get in? And will this be my fault? A lot of parents are nervous. Like, is this going to be my fault? And I get it. Like, you can't unsee the heartbreak of your child being denied. So I'm going to show you a system that teaches you exactly what to do. And this is all possible. I'm going to show you tonight some key things that you want to keep in mind. Now, I want you to keep in mind, I've been doing this since the late 90s. I already dated myself earlier, so don't make me repeat it because it's embarrassing. But I mean, all the knowledge I have, it and everything I share is not based on just like guessing. It is based in truth. It is based in what we've seen. It is based in everything that we've done, everything that I've learned over the years and have had success again and again. Okay, so here are two shining stars. They're both graduating this year. So on my right is Emily, She's graduating from Harvard this year, and she was the now what, the mom. They had done everything right. We met in sophomore year. Emily didn't join in any of our programs. They were like, we're on it. And then mom called in senior year and said, I think, like, Houston, we have a problem. I think the essay is not great. She was right. I read it and I gave her some candid feedback. And so we got right to work. And so I got her caught up on our formula that we use for essays. And she was admitted to Harvard before Christmas. Juliana is completely opposite. I went to Columbia with her mother. So her mom called when Juliana was a sophomore, and she was like, Cindy, she called me Cindy. She's like, my daughter wants to go to Cornell, and like, I need you to help her because I don't know how to help her. We went to visit, and that's her first choice. So I started working with her little by little as a sophomore. So she followed the formula to a T, and by end of senior year, she got what she wanted. So there you go. So here are the 4 questions. We're going to start with question number 1. How do you compare to your peers? So what you might know is that, grades matter. The rigor, hopefully you know that the rigor, like the number of honors and AP courses you take, all of those things matter. What you may not know is that colleges recalculate the GPA. So the GPA that you see on the transcript is not actually the GPA that is not the admission GPA. So they tend to focus on the sophomore and junior years with the core academic subjects only. So again, it shouldn't surprise you, but when you say it out loud, you're like, oh, PE doesn't count. Oh, religion doesn't count. Oh, art doesn't count. Unless you're in California, it does count for the UC and Cal States. But generally speaking, the 5 academic food groups are English, math, science, social science, and modern language. That's it. So the other thing that people typically don't know is that students are being compared to the students from your high school. Okay, so everyone applying from your high school, applying to X, Y, or Z college, that's who you're being compared to. You're not, if you live in California, you're not being compared to who is applying from Iowa. Definitely no. So it's really literally your cohort. So you're sitting next to the person who you're competing against. You also may not know that the school profile. So you want to just kind of write this down or maybe take a screenshot. There's a document called the school profile. And I'm not shocked that most families do not know what a school profile is, but I wish that high schools would just give it out to everybody when they're freshmen. So on the school profile is a document. It tells me the GPA distribution. It tells me how many honors and AP, lists of honors and APs or IB courses. It gives me the demographics of the high school. It might tell me like some cool clubs or organizations or award-winning teams or mock trial or something like that. A good profile will also tell me where the students from your high school have been admitted and or where they have gone on to, so matriculated. Okay, if you don't know those words, don't worry, no judgment. Type it into the chat and let me know what your questions are. Okay, so I might be going like, this is like, woo, like drinking water from a fire hose. Okay, no worries, you are not alone. The school profile is the Bible in which I, as an admission officer, will be understanding the context from which your child is coming from. Okay, so you want to Google that. You want to Google your high school name plus the word school profile. So what do you want to do? Here are your to-dos. Maximize your opportunities. Always be taking the highest level of curriculum that you can. APs, honors classes, IB courses, whatever. Get a copy of the school profile. If you cannot find it online, you can just like Googling it. You call the counselor and get a copy. And then build a relationship with your high school counselor in case they have a relationship with the colleges you want. Okay, so here's just an example. Here is Ryan. Ryan, I will tell you right now, he attended a tier 1 school, and even still, the mom knew that she wanted to get him started early, so he took advantage of one of our programs as a sophomore, and then that's what he needed to just get a jump start, and he had all the tools that he learned. So he didn't take any other programs with us, but he did start and did a session with us as a sophomore. So he's at Emory now. Here's Malik on the right and Cosette on the left. So Malik also started with us when he was a freshman, started young, and he's now at UVA. Gosh, is he? Oh my gosh, I think he's a sophomore now. And Cosette's story is one of my favorites because she was rejected from every single college she applied to as a senior in high school. This is not why it's my favorite. It ends well, as you can see, but that happened. Okay, so she applied blindly. She just applied naively, and then she applied again as a first-year community college student, and again, same result. So in her first year, her mom found us just like this. She was on a webinar, and her mom heard me say, "Students aren't rejected; applications are." And her mom signed her up for our programs, and Cosette was diligent. She watched every single module. She did every single exercise. And she finally got admitted to her dream college, which was UC Santa Barbara. And she got admitted to Berkeley. So she chose Berkeley. Now, I want to say two things. One, not much changed about Cosette between the time she had applied before and applied again. I mean, she'd done some things differently, but she wasn't a very different person or applicant. She just knew how to package herself. That's number one. Number two, she's from Maryland. Getting admitted to a California public school from another state is like you have to walk on water. So she found a way to finally crack the code. She'd always dreamed of going to school in California. So there you go. So if you want to be like Ryan or Cosette or Malik, I definitely encourage you to book a call, and we can get started. You can do a 10-minute if you have a quick question. You can do a 45-minute if you really are serious and you want a strategy session. Number two, what do teachers say about you? So here's the thing. I'm going to just share that you may know and that you need a letter of recommendation, at least one teacher recommendation, but often for two. Students who tend to find families that find us tend to be in search of top 100 colleges, or they're applying to at least one top 100 college or top 50 or an Ivy League kind of school. So with those, you tend to need two teacher recommendations, and your high school counselor will also write a third recommendation. Okay, so the school is required to submit a recommendation and fill out the forms, and that is going to be your guidance counselor. What you may not know is that the purpose of the teacher is to verify and solidify. Okay, so I often get the question, should I ask the teacher who likes me the best? And while that is a bonus, and while that is like good for you, that is not the purpose of the teacher. You want to find the teacher who understands and sees the student as an intellectually curious person. So which teacher, which subject matter do you come prepared? Are you a hard worker? Are you a problem solver? Are you constantly being challenged to think? Maybe you didn't get the best grade right away, but you were so adamant and determined to get it all right, that teacher is going to really help paint the picture of what kind of student you're going to be once you go to college. So I just want to be really clear that it's not about this teacher who's going to say, how kind you are and how great you are and how, fun and loving you are. And and how involved and what a leader you are. That is really the role of the counselor. The teacher can say a little bit about that, but it shouldn't be more than 10 to 15% of that letter. The rest should be academically focused. Okay. People ask me, I think they might think, why do I drill this point home? Because it is like one of those extra things, but it's one of the things we teach. Why? Because even when I worked at the private girls' school in Los Angeles, an elite, private independent school, we found a letter that had been returned and we opened it, and it was, it was poorly written. It did not add value to what this student's application. We had them rewrite it, and then from there on, we taught our teachers how to write letters. So just because the teacher teaches AP does not mean they know how to add value to your application. So this is one of the whole module. It's a whole module dedicated to teacher recommendations. So here's Jonna. Jonna started with us as a sophomore. She took our base course and then continued to stay with us. She became a VIP student of ours. She was a private client of mine. And she followed the formula. So when it all works together, it all works together. So she followed the formula. She's now at Princeton. She's now a junior. That is what is Craig Robinson. If anyone knows who Craig Robinson is, bonus points for you. Type that into the chat. Here's Mark. He's a current senior going through the process right now. He was just admitted to UC Irvine and a number of other UCs and Pepperdine, and he's waiting to hear from some others. Here's Ethan. He was admitted early to Duke this year. So lots of great things happening. But I'll never forget Mark said to me after he followed the formula with the teachers, he's like, oh my goodness, like the teachers, emailed him back and said, oh, they were immensely thankful for what he had, the structure and what formula he had used with them. So you want to choose teachers who know you well and will speak to your academic strengths. You want to provide teachers with specific examples of what to highlight, and you want to give a small little gift of thanks. It could be a $5 or $10 little gift card to Starbucks. That's not my favorite place. Tierra Mia is my favorite coffee place, by the way, or Wonder Woman or anything USC. So pay attention to what that teacher loves and give a little tiny little shout out, little gift. So again, I just want to invite you to book a call. Jonna, Mark, Ethan, they are all clients of ours at varying levels of what they did. Ethan was not a VIP client, but he was an elite student. So there you go. Okay, number 3. How do you spend your time outside of the classroom? Okay, so you might know that obviously co-curriculars count. What are you involved in? What's your leadership? All those things. You hear the term passion project. All of those things. So I'm going to break down sort of like all activities are not created equal. So let's take a look here. You may want to screenshot this. This is my hierarchy chart here, my leadership hierarchy. So down there, level 1 is 95 to 98% of the students who are applying to 4-year institutions are involved in a club, a sport, something, right? They do community service. They do something. Then level 2 is your school leadership. That's going to be about 15% because these are your selected or elected positions. So think about student body, class president or student body president, editors in chief, team captains, captains of the academic decathlon, those kinds of things. So that's about 15%. Or if you're like a regional, if you're on a team and your team, like one of our students, they just won state, or I think they just won state, the girls soccer team. So that would fall into like 15%. Then the coolness factor is the closest thing that when I look at what people call a passion project, that's your coolness factor. So the way I describe coolness factor is that what would you do if nobody paid you or gave you a grade for it? That you're just doing it because you want to. And it could be literally that you love to bake, that you love to learning 3 languages, you have a part-time job, you're trading stocks on, you're trading stocks, you are, I always use Esteban. Esteban loved all things baseball. So he knew like every fact figure, like every team, he knew everything about it. So some people know about everything about Michael Jordan's shoe collection. So something that is just true to you and is just like something you love to do. It can be intellectual as well. The difference between level 3 and level 4, I'm going to walk you through. So here's a level 3. Both of these girls are dancers. They have been competitive dancers for many, many years. So Mira on my right, she was a tap dancer. She was a competitive tap dancer. She was very good. She was also took her dancing ability and she was on the cheer team at school. She was a leader at school, all those things. So that was both are similar. This is Gemma on the Mira's at Berkeley, and Gemma is a senior now, and she was admitted to Northeastern and Elon and some other places. I think she committed to Elon, to be honest with you, recently. So there you go. So that's level 3, and that's a coolness project, and that's super fine. A level 4 takes it up a level. What are you doing to leave an impact for another community? So write these down. It's 3 criteria. 1, do you solve a problem? 2, for a community you love. And 3, spend 80 hours or more. That's a level 4 impact project. Okay. And Sienna was a VIP client, and we minimally say you got to get to level 3, but you really need to get to level 4 is what our preference is. Level 4 and then level 5 if you're applying to Ivy level institutions. So she did her bead bags of courage. They were bags she sewed. She made it a project to do 100 of them, and those bead bags with a personalized note inside went to kids that have cancer, and every time they hit a milestone they would put them in. So Sienna could have done this project and said, I'm going to make 10 bead bags. That would have been a level 2 or level 3. That would have been something. But a level 4, she did 100 bags over the course of 14 months. So she was able to write about her project. She was able to talk about the impact that she made and the impact it gave to her. So it's also good, just compelling stories to tell. So anyway, she was admitted to Berkeley, and so many others, and many people wrote her a note about her bead bag essay. So it was great. It was great. Here's level 5. So level 5 just continues. So in this particular case, Alexis meets all 5. It's not, you don't have to meet every single, you don't have to hit every single one, but she just happens to, like you saw here, like Sienna doesn't meet level 2. But she leapfrogs to level 4. So with here, Alexis also was a Girl Scout Gold Award winner, which is sort of what I based level 4 on. So those 3 criteria come from the standards for Girl Scout Gold Award. So her Gold Award was to create this immigration podcast. She interviewed 6 immigration lawyers and helped others navigate the immigration process. So that's what she did. It's an intellectual project because it goes above and beyond and all the research that she had to do to prepare for those interviews. Okay, here are your must-dos. Screenshot this. Focus on activities that reflect your passions and impact, and leaves an impact, and also your intellectual curiosity. If you can tie one of your main leadership things to what you want to major in, that is gold on the ground, which is what Alexis did. Okay. Again, I want to just invite you, you can book a call. You can book a call for 10 minutes, or you can book one for 45 minutes if you're serious about figuring out what your strategy is. And I'll tell you, okay, I'll tell you how we do that at the end too. Okay, last question. Here's, what is the story that you're telling about yourself? Okay, this is really key. Okay, so you know that essays are required. And one thing I don't know that I have this on the slide. One thing that I think always shocks Gen X, I'm a Gen X, right? I applied to college in the late 90s. I graduated from high school in 90. So I wrote one essay, one personal statement, whatever, 500 or 600, whatever it was, words, and that was it. Okay, one essay. I think most families are shocked when I tell them how many essays our students report that they need for students who are applying somewhere between 12 and 16 colleges. Right? I'm going to just take the Band-Aid off for you, if that's okay. They report needing 18 to 48 essays. Oh my God. Yes, I know. Okay, I'll explain in a second. Also, you may not know that these are the most common topics: community service, athletics, talking about other people, and life challenges. Okay. So you're like, well, what else am I going to write? Well, trust me, you have plenty to write about that does not have to fall into these 4 categories. These are the most common. So these are my 2 Amelias. Amelia from Houston, Texas is at Colgate now. She's on my right. She's pinned on my Instagram. She says that she sat for 6 sessions, 2 to 3 sessions each in someone's office, being she was one-on-one tutored to get her essays done. She's like, I didn't get anything done, literally nothing. There was no, anyway, she tells the story, but she comes to essay camp in the summer for 5 days and leaves with 5 essays. But she was like, yes, that's what I needed. So she wrote an essay about chocolate. I kid you not. It's great. Amelia from North Carolina, from Asheville, North Carolina. Dad called, similar to Emily, kind of called late and said, I got referred to you, but she needs help. And I think she's struggling and she won't share with me her essay, and we can't help her anyway. So help her out. So she was then admitted to USC before Christmas. She applied early. So they are both, are they both freshmen? Yeah, they're both freshmen. So there you go. Here are some our twin boys from New York. Mom, same thing. The mom was like, I need help. This was her first rodeo, her first boys. And so she found us and got some help. And so they're very different boys, but they were a treat to work with. So Sean is at UVA and John is at NC State. And they're juniors. They're thriving. They're thriving. Okay, here are your essay must-dos. You want to you can screenshot this. You want to start learning about the essay, and remind me to give you some links. I can give you a link where you can download something for free that we have. But basically, you don't want to put this off. Like, it's going to take a long time. So even in class when we do our essay boot camps, students typically by the end of the week will have written 4 to 6 drafts of multiple essays. So the goal is to leave camp with between 3 and 5 essays, done and ready to go, like in good enough shape. But it takes that many days. Often, I'll never forget this one kid. We were on a call with his mom, and he said, "Well, like, why do I need 5 days?" And I sort of giggled because I thought, "Oh, okay, he's not going to get it until he goes." And so he understood it's about the iteration. It's about doing what you can on day one, and then getting feedback from your coach. We have one-on-one personal coaching throughout this group coaching session. So he once he did it, he got it. So yeah. All right. Okay. Just again, yeah, you're welcome to book a call. You can do 10 minutes or you can do 45 minutes if you have you're really serious about strategizing for next year or the year after. You can be like Malik, freshman year, or like Jonna, sophomore year, or Juliana, and also Emily. So here are some other success stories so you can see our students. Okay, so just so you know, like, we've worked with students from I think we're over 25 states by now. We've been Zooming since before Zoom was a verb. Students found us early on, and so we have students from all over the country. So pretty cool. Just as a reminder, like thousands of students each year are denied, and it's as a parent, it's hard to unfeel what that feels like and unsee that. It's devastating. And don't get me wrong, rejection is part of this process. It's just that you want to shoot for more yeses or wait lists than no's. Just you want to do it well, because it's hard to go through it. So what are you doing now to level up? So a quick story about this Texas rock, because you can look this up. The story exists. The Wall Street Journal ran a story called like Texas rock star. Sometimes enough is not enough, or something like that. But the story goes very briefly. She's from McKinney High School. This is all in the article, so I'm not speaking out of turn, and I don't know her. She's from McKinney High School, which is in Texas. She applied to 11 colleges. She was denied at 9. She was waitlisted at 1, Rice, and she was admitted to 1. She had like a 4.5. She'd done everything right. She had a part-time job. She did all the productions at school, like as a producer or director for like 30 productions at her school. But she applied as a business major. So lots of reasons why when I read the article and I look up her school profile and I did all the homework on my end, there are a number of reasons. And the biggest reason is that the 7 of the 9 colleges that she applied to, or 9 of those colleges all had under 20% acceptance rate. So that's not a success plan. That's not a recipe for success, right? I just said, you can't unfeel what that feels like. So she had basically 1 safety school, which is where she got admitted. Okay, so that was a recipe for disaster. And the other thing is 7 of the 9 colleges that were on her list that she was denied were not on her school profile. So if a college that you're wanting to attend is not on your school profile, meaning nobody from your high school has been recently admitted and or has recently attended, that is a recipe that probably says, okay, this college doesn't have a good relationship with my high school. All it means is that there's, they may not know that college may not know very much about your high school. And again, remember I said all high schools are not created equal. So that's one of the sad truths. So lots of reasons it didn't work out for her. Okay. So 9 rejections. You don't want that. Trust me, you don't want that. Right. Can I get an amen? All right. Yeah. Why do you need so many essays? Stacy. Okay. I'll get to that. Okay, here I stopped at 14. There's lots of mistakes that students make. And here's the thing. There's no judgment on, we all make mistakes, right? When we make mistakes when we're going through something for the first time, right? Whatever it is that you're going through for the first time, whether it is like, when I first started going to the gym, I didn't know how to bicep curl. What's a bicep curl? Or why am I doing this correctly? I don't know. I needed someone to help me get you figure it out. And then after a while, I can do it on my own. Boom. So when students are going through this process, they're going through it for the first time. And they won't go through it again unless they apply to graduate school. And then that's different. So nobody's supposed to know how to do this because you're doing it for the first time. So that's why, that's why we're here to help and support your dreams and help be that guide and be that coach that you might need. So this is the school I worked at. I will just say that it's a private independent school. Currently, I think it's more than $45,000 a year to attend this school, Marymount. It's where Kim Kardashian went and Mariska Hargitay, love her, and Giada DeSantis and Tatiana Lee, others. I don't say that to impress you. I say that to impress upon you the amount of resources that were available for students, that are available for the girls who attend a school like that. So if that is you and you attend a private independent school, in many cases, you're going to be in good hands. We still work with some students who attend a private independent school. Certainly many of them hire out, but we're tending to land somewhere below that tier 1 to help students, all students. So very briefly, this is what we do. This is our Ivy success formula, and then I'll take questions. Okay, so here, oh gosh, there was Juliana and Curtis and so many different school students from all over. Okay, so here's what I'm going to just kind of share with you. I don't need to have I do like to have this little comment here. Your network is your net worth, right? And my mom used to say, "Dime con quién andas y te digo quién eres." And it loosely is like we are the average of the 5 people we surround ourselves with. So that's one of the biggest reasons that people want to pursue something like this, attempt an Ivy level or top 50 schools. Really, who are you going to be sitting around for the next for the next 4 years? So anyway, this is Jana with the day that she was admitted to Princeton. So it's one of those pinch me moments, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it happened to me. So it does happen. It can happen. So let me just share a couple of things with you. And that is, I'll stop share and I'll just share with you just straight. I'll be a straight shooter here. I'm just thoughtful because I'm standing in the kitchen. I know I have a virtual background right now, but I've been borrowing a good friend of mine's, her kitchen to shoot these different videos that I'm doing. And I was here the other day and she said she went to Dartmouth. Okay. And so we were just chatting about something that came up and she said something about Shonda Rhimes and she's like, oh yeah, she was in my history class, whatever. Basically, I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I'm talking about. She's like, yeah, this is what it's like. There was 1,000 of them in her class. And she says, she said that there's so many of them that have gone on to be very, very successful. So anyway, these are people she could call up because it's a small class. So, okay, here are 3 things you want to know. So you may want to write them down. This is our Ivy success formula. The very first pillar of the Ivy success formula is this. We take a look at that hierarchy chart, the leadership hierarchy. We're really looking to make sure that any of our students work with us, that we help them get placed or help them build an idea or help them execute a level 4 or level 5 on the hierarchy chart, an impact or an intellectual project. Okay, that's number 1. Most people focus on that passion project and think that that's enough. But let me break that down. So I said there's 10% at level 3 passion project, Colin's factor, and then it goes 5% and then 1%. So if you think about Harvard admitted, so last year Harvard had 54,000 applications. They admitted under 2,000 of them, like 19 something. 10%, right, would have been no, 5. I'm sorry, they admitted. So 5% would have been 2,400. And if I did the math correctly, and the 1% would have been 540. Okay. So where do you think they pulled their people from? That level 4 and level 5. Okay. So pillar number 2 is most people focus on writing one essay and put 90% of their time and efforts into that personal statement and give very little time for all the supplements. So who was it? So yeah, Stacy, you're asking what it needs to. So let me break this down. So we focus on the core 4. Who am I? What am I good at? what's something cool about me and why this major. So in essay camp, that is the goal. That is what you're shooting for. You're shooting to get drafts of those core four for your signature essays so that you're not spending all of your time on just one. So what happens is for the UC system, University of California, you need 4. Okay, so that's out of the gate. Then if you're applying to the common application, which most people are, that's one 650-word essay. Okay, so now if you're in California, you're now already at 5. But even if you're not in California, every application that you add on the common application will add an additional 2 to 7 supplemental essays. What? So do the math. It quickly adds up very, very quickly. And what happens is that you see, it's only 100 words, 150 words, 200 words, 300 words, sometimes as much as 500 words. But students don't put in the effort in those extra, one, because sometimes they're surprised. They don't know that those were extra essays that they had to write, so they didn't plan ahead. And 2, they're just like, oh my gosh, like they're running out of time because they started too late. So what I see is those who put in the time and care for every single answer and make sure that every essay is adding value to your application. That's where it all is. Okay. So that's pillar 2. And then pillar 3 is having a bulletproof college list. So really understanding that you have to dig deep in the data. Where do women have an advantage? Where do males have an advantage? Out-of-staters have an advantage? Early decision have an advantage? Full pay have an advantage? So it's a number of things, right? Liberal arts colleges, big institutions, flagship, like all of the things. So digging in deep, all right? You don't want the Wall Street Journal situation, right? You just don't want that. So digging in deep is to set yourself up for success. And sometimes you have to change your major if you want to major in something that when I look at your transcript, it doesn't match. Okay. So lots of things. So those are the 3 pillars of our Ivy success formula. And that's what we do with all of our students who come into our environment and our programs. So that's it. Okay. That's the simple formula. You follow it, it works. And there you have it. So I'll take any questions. You can just type them in there for me. And I think I better turn on. It's getting a little bit. Is it getting dark in here? No, I think I'm okay. Okay, so Stacy, did I answer your question? Why do you need so many essays? Because they grow exponentially very quickly. I hope that's helpful. Let me know if that answered it. Okay. Happy to answer any question you have, you guys. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Stacy. Where are you tuning in from, Stacy? And what grade level? New York, 11th grade. Okay, awesome. I feel like I've seen your name before, but maybe not. Maybe this might be your first time joining us. So welcome. We have a number of students in New York, and actually, Cece, we're going to be. I'm running a big ad in the Stuyvesant Gala brochure, and we're going to be doing one of our essay camps will be hosted in August in New York. We have to find a location and get all of that, but we've had enough students that we should do that. So we have at least 3 VIP clients already in New York, and others that are coming, from that East Coast area. So we'll be in New York in August. Okay. Other questions? I'm happy to answer you, y'all. Okay. Tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, how helpful was tonight's information? Just so I know, so I can tweak it. We're running tomorrow. Tomorrow on Thursdays, I go live at 4 p.m. Pacific, and it's a new topic each week. So I'm sorry, we alternate. Sorry. So tomorrow is a new topic. We're talking about demonstrated interest is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. So if you haven't registered, make sure you register for that. So yeah, it's one of my favorite things to talk about. 10. Oh, good. Stacy, set up appointment. We can chit chat. Yeah. Oh gosh, we just signed a VIP client who's a sophomore from South Carolina. Super excited. So Stacy, where does your child go to school? High school. You can share that. Okay. Anybody else? Happy to answer your questions. And okay. Oceanside. I'm not familiar where that is. Okay, I'll have to look it up. Actually, I'll look it up right now. Oceanside High School. School profile. See, I'm looking up your school profile right now. See if I can find it. Let's see. Oh, let's see. I'm going to share my screen. See if this is it. Oh, no. This is what I found. I'll show you. Let's see. Okay, so this is what I found. This is in Maine, but I'll show you what I did. I typed in Oceanside High School School Profile PDF to see what would come up. So if I do this, New York. What's this one? Is this you? Oh, well, this is the parent handbook. Okay, we're getting closer, but I don't see that it comes up quickly. So you guys, I'll show you what one looks like as I have a bunch saved. So I'll show you McKinney High School, the girl that I talked about before. This is their, it's not the best one I've seen ever, but it gives me, you can see here, it gives me the grade distribution here. It tells me the advanced courses that are offered here. It gives me the demographics of the student body. The APs that are offered. And then you see here, it shows me the colleges where the students have been admitted. Okay, right here. Okay, so this is what, I'll show you one more. I'll show you one like super, super great one. Let's see. It's usually the private independent schools, of course, but let's see. With this one? One of the fancy schools has a really great one. I can't remember which one it is, though. Oh, no, it's not this one. Anyway, so hopefully you understand that's what you're looking for. You are looking for your high school profile so that you understand how your school presents itself to the world. Let's see, this is a pretty good one. This is a Catholic school. It's not a private independent. It's not like a Marymount or a private independent school, but it is a solid. This is one I like too. It says colleges attended here, and then down here it tells you everywhere they've been admitted. I really love this. This is where students attend, and this is where they've been admitted. So I like this one a lot too. So anyway, I digress. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. So you can stop screen. Yeah, perfect. Okay, done Long Island. Long Island. Okay, we're Hofstra's. Okay, awesome, you guys. Well, if you don't have any questions, no worries. But I do encourage you to make an appointment if you want to, have some time and go over your specific case and have a strategy session. And let me pop something else Oh, I said that I would give you the essays things. Right. And essays. One sample. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so you can do that. If you want to snag that, that would be great. And what else can I give you? Okay, I think that should be helpful. Oops. Okay, my friends, lovely to meet you. Cece, nice to meet you. Welcome. I didn't see anybody else type in there to see your name. But anyway, if you're new to our world, welcome. We're happy to have you. And yeah, I can't wait to show you the videos I filmed today. They're super cute and super fun. I'm helping to really break down how, a simple topic on an essay can be what I'm calling a viral essay. Where it gets someone admitted to really top colleges. So there you go. Okay, guys, have a happy evening and bye for now. Hopefully I'll see some of you tomorrow talking about demonstrated interest. Bye now.